task, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the Dre Broadcasting Network tonight as we turn both left and right with the Precision Racing League. We are coming to you live from Sonoma Raceway for round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by GenXRacing.com and GemX.com. I am your commentator, Sean Zulu, and I am joined by my good friend and producer, Dave Everly. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I am doing good too, thank you. Well, we had last week off for Labor Day weekend, but we are very, very excited, very, very pumped to be back with the Precision Racing League right here at Sonoma Raceway after leaving off with the race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And speaking of Charlotte Motor Speedway, that was support for D. LaBeouf by LIT Motorsports. We had Johnny Pierce bring it home for the first time after multiple podium finishes, and he was finally able to win one race, or his first race this far this season, and it's not gonna be his last. Markel Murphy second, Dale Robertson third, Eddie Hawks fourth, Brandon Massey fifth, Steven Aguiar sixth, Craig Hawkins seventh, Jeffrey Ford eighth, Chris Perez ninth, and Jean-Francois Champagne did round up the top 10. And in that race, Dale Robertson did round up the top 10. Dale Robertson did take the pole and led us to our first green flag of the evening. And he ended up finishing in the third place spot. And with so much heavy battling early on, as we had great track conditions, which encouraged the drivers to abuse those gas pedals even more than usual. We saw some green flag pit stops, which did spread out the field and opened up different pit strategies for different race teams. It was an amazing race overall, but it came down to Johnny Pierce, Markel Murphy, and Dale Robertson, and challenged as it did end under caution. It was an amazing battlefield race overall. Once again, so many battles going on throughout the whole entire track, green flag pit stops, and just so much action. It was even complicated or difficult to keep up with it. Moving on to our current point standings, Cody Knapmiller still maintaining the season standings lead. He's had a heck of a season this far. It's his first season with the Precision Racing League, and it's been quite amazing. He's done quite well this far and won't stop either. Johnny Pierce going from 4th place to 2nd place this week. Markel Murphy from 3rd place. Actually, Markel is still in 3rd. No change with him. Steven Aguiar from 7th place to 4th place, gaining about 3 spots overall. Nicely done. We have Jason Ashby from 2nd place to 5th, Cotton Lane from 8th place to 6th, Stephen Johnston from 9th place to 7th, Christian Swenson from 7th place to 8th, Sammy Holmes from 4th place to 9th, Chris Perez, John LaBeouf, and Steven Mattox. These 3 drivers tied for 10th place in points. Once again, Chris Perez, John LaBeouf, Steven Mattox. These 3 drivers tied for 10th place in points. And going over these drivers' race teams, the top 10 drivers from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Last race we had Johnny Pierce representing the Simtech Racing team, Markel Murphy Flat Out Motorsports team, Big D's Racing with Dale Robertson, that's Big D's Racing, Eddie Hawks, Aeronix Sim Racing, Brandon Massey, Aeronix Sim Racing. So 2 Aeronix Sim Racing drivers finishing 4th and 5th. That's Eddie Hawks and Brandon Massey, Aeronix Sim Racing. Wrangler Motorsports, that's going to be Steven Aguiar, Craig Hawkins, Aeronix Sim Racing, Jeffrey Ford, Ford Lane Motorsports, Chris Perez, Big D's Racing, Jean-Francois Champagne, Overtake Motorsports, David Dreckman, Simtech Racing Team, Mike Taylor, No Fear Racing Team, Cody Johnson, Big D's Racing, Steven Johnston, Gen X Racing, and Derek Pemberton, Overtake Motorsports. So far, let's see the dominant team in the top 10 from last race at Charlotte Motor Speedway is going to be Aeronix Sim Racing, having 3 of their 4 drivers finishing in the top 10. And going over the teams of the drivers here, top 10 in points, we do have Cody Knapmiller once again, Gen X Racing Team, Johnny Pierce, Simtech Racing Team, Markel Murphy Flat Out Motorsports, Steven Aguiar, Wrangler Motorsports, Jason Ashby, Wrangler Motorsports, Cotton Lane representing the Ford Lane Motorsports team, Steven Johnston, Gen X Racing Team, Christian Swenson, Gen X Racing Team as well, Sammy Holmes, Wrangler Motorsports team, Chris Perez, Big D's Racing, John LaBeouf, No Fear Racing Team, Steven Mattox, Ford Lane Motorsports. And that rounds up once again the top 10 in points. And so far in points, the dominant team so far seems to be, let's see, we have, I think it's, Gen X Racing. Gen X Racing and also these, let's see, Wrangler Motorsports team and Gen X Racing. They both have 3 of their 4 drivers in the top 10 in points. Very, very impressive. And ladies and gentlemen, we are missing a lot of drivers tonight due to the hurricane down in Florida, Hurricane Irma. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. So everything will be okay, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, a lot of drivers are missing tonight due to the hurricane. They did have to evacuate and get to safety. And we see you there in the chat. Thank you for watching. Timothy Petito, good to see you there, buddy. George Gibbs Jr., good to see you. And also Eric Roberts. Eric, it's been a while. Good to see you.
Yeah, most definitely, Sean. We've been off for a little while here with the Precision Racing League. It's good to be back into the mix of things. I think I'm a little rusty here in the booth, but I think we're going to get it all worked out here tonight.
Absolutely. I was saying it's been a while, Eric. And yep, it's been a week. But yep, it has been forever. At least it feels like it's been forever. As tonight we are racing right here at Sonoma Raceway. Already having Timothy Petito picking his win for tonight. That's going to be the 23 of Craig Hawkins. And if you are there, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, let us know who you're rooting for tonight. This is a very, very strong field tonight. Sonoma Raceway turning both left and right for a change, and not just left only. And they're running about all the way from 1 minute 14 second lap times all the way up to 1 minute 24 second lap times. So here it's all about slow in, fast out. If you're too fast in, you might not be able to come out, or you won't be able to make it out. And so far on the pole is the 96 of Adam Chapman. His first pole position right here with the 1:14.894 fastest lap time set in the on the whole entire server, including practice too. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this series is sponsored by GymX and Gen X Racing. So gymx.com, the spelling of that actually is in the top right of your screen, right below the timer there. GIMEXS. The website is GIMEXS.com. That is gymx.com. And also sponsored by Gen X Racing, the Gen X Racing team. So genxracing.com. And Gen X Racing is a team on iRacing that runs pretty much every single series you can think of, like road racing. They do Xfinity cars. They do the trucks, the A cars. They do some legends, and also some dirt tracking as well. And GymX is a new sponsor. They do specialize in industrial and transportation hardware. That's industrial and transportation hardware. For example, they have cargo, they have boxes, they have LED lights, off-road packages, and a lot more things. Once again, industrial and transportation hardware. That is gymx.com, GIMEXS.com, and genxracing.com. Well, we see some more viewers in the chat. There we have Joe Burchett. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. He is rooting on the 96 of Adam Chapman, the post hitter so far. Trackside Racing Network, high five. Good to see that trackside. Let's see who else in the chat. Let us know who you're rooting for there in the chat.
Well, we've got less than 30 seconds to the end of qualifying, so looks like these times are going to be set, and Adam Chapman is going to walk away with the pole here tonight.
Yep, great job to Adam Chapman. Once again, his first podium position right here in qualifying at Sonoma Raceway. What a heck of a track to do it at. And looking in the chat there, George Gibbs as well is in the path of Hurricane Irma. George Gibbs, keep yourself safe, man. Evacuate as soon as you can. Be safe out there. And ladies and gentlemen, let's keep all the victims, everyone in the path of the hurricane, in our thoughts and prayers. And everything is gonna be okay. Well, looks like gridding has now begun, so we will give the drivers a few seconds before we go down the list. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, first time post-sitter right here this season, 96 Adam Chapman, Sonoma Raceway, taking the pole. 14 of Danica Johnson, well, Paul D. Johnson, nicknamed Danica Johnson, starting second. Jean-Francois Champagne in third. We have Dale Robertson fourth. John LaBeouf fifth. Craig Hawkins sixth, and Craig Hawkins being Timothy Petito's pick for the win tonight here, starting sixth once again. 60 of Cotton Lane seventh, 41 of Chris Perez eighth, the 16 of Johnny Pierce, last race winner, Charlotte Motor Speedway, starting in the 9th place spot, and the 48 of Markel Murphy in the 10th place position. After finishing second last week at Charlotte, or the week before last. We have Danny Duchesne 11th, Dustin Hall 12th, 81 of Derek Pemberton 13th, the 33 of David Dreckman 14th, the 19 of Matthew York 15th, the 45 Eddie Hawks 16th, the 5 Jason Ashby 17th. We have Jeremy Bethome, he's not racing tonight. Oh, actually Dave, looks like we have a standing start. The green flag has flown. We will cut this grid short. They are now racing. I thought they were going to have one pace on 96 right now. Adam Chapman has been overtaken. Actually, he's for the back in the pack. Now he's trying to play catch up and is right behind the 48 of Markel Murphy.
Yeah, it looks like the 14 there of Paulie Johnson, a.k.a. Danica Johnson, is going to jump out to the early lead with Dale Robertson sitting there in second, Jean-Francois Champagne third, John LaBeouf is going to move up into fourth, Craig Hawkins in fifth, Colton Lane sitting sixth, Chris Perez seventh, our pole sitter Adam Chapman moving back into eighth position, Johnny Pierce sitting in ninth, and Markel Murphy rounding out our top 10 here as they are starting here, almost completing a lap. It's pretty quick lap times here, Sean.
Absolutely, and Dave, 911 of John LaBeouf is mighty loose, trying to get some what do you call it, some heat into those tires, but so far is trying to just hang on to it for dear life, and it's gonna become, the cars really become stable after the lap 1 is complete. So here before too long, oh, one, the 23 of Hawkins drives it way hard, entering the last turn number 10, and he will go stay on the left side. 41 of Perez got loose as well on the exit of turn 10, was able to get around the 96 of Adam Chapman. And also one thing I forgot to mention, this is round number 6, which is the halfway point of this season, round 6 of 12. So Dave, would you say this is go time?
Well, it's getting to that point. These guys know that the season's coming to an end. Here at Precision Racing League, they do not do a playoff system. It's all based on points. They know every point matters.
Yep, every point matters. And so far, 42 of Cody Miller being very dominant, has been all season long this far. Unfortunately, he's not racing tonight, most likely as well due to Hurricane Irma. We're missing a lot of Gen X drivers tonight, and that is most likely the reason why, because we saw some posts about that on the Precision Racing League forums, talking about the Hurricanes and the drivers just encouraging each other and just pretty much taking safety precautions just so they can make sure that everybody is safe. And so far, Adam Chapman, Dave, trying to make some headway on the inside, or to the right side of the 41 of Chris Perez, with a successful throw Robertson in the wall on the exit of turn 10, and he's going to lose about 2 to 3 spots on the exit of turn 10.
Yeah, they got to remember, no full course cautions here in Sonoma, only local cautions, so you get that lap down, I mean, it's going to be hard to get that lap back here in Sonoma.
And speaking of getting that lap down, we have 81 of Derek Pemberton, who did miss the shift. He gets off the track. He's able to hang on to that machine. Gonna try and dust those tires off to avoid losing control. Trying to have the most grip possible, the most grip that is. So, and speaking of being a lap down, he won't be able, well, I mean, it is possible he might be able to get his lap back the hard way. That's the only way to do so. Because no lucky dog, just like you talk about, no full course cautions. So fingers crossed for Derek Pemberton, and hopefully he's able to get his lap back the hard way by having an excellent pit stop, because these guys tonight do have a 60% fuel limit as usual. That is 60%. So we expect at least 2 pit stops. So if he has a heck of a pit stop, if his pit crew took a 5-hour energy, he should be able to make up a lot of time and hopefully race this track as hard as he can for his own benefit. And going a little bit up front, 37 of Dustin Hall right now behind the 19 of Matthew York. So far riding nose to tail. He's getting comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, with these turns, though, I mean, you're going to have to be close to be able to get in to make this pass. So I think pit strategy is going to be a great way to go.
Yeah, right now it's all about having a perfect entrance and especially a perfect exit in order to make up a lot of time. We have a lot of drivers who make up time on the entrances and some make up time on the exits, but that just might end up balancing out. And I've noticed one thing: the drivers are having a lot of trouble entering the last turn number 10, 19 on Matthew York, for example, last lap. Ended up kissing those tires a little bit and has sustained some right front damage as a result of that. And it's not the first I've seen. The 3 of Robertson as well was in the wall not too long ago on the exit of turn 10. The 23 of Hawkins as well got a piece of the action early on turn number 10. So far turn 10 is the turn to watch out for on oval tracks like, let's see, Las Vegas, Atlanta Motor Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway. Turn 2 is the most dangerous turn, but tonight, turn 10.
Well, going back up to the leader here with the 14 of Paul D. Johnson, a.k.a. Danica Johnson. That's kind of funny, but he is out leading. He is actually pulled out. He's got about a 3.6 second over second place, which is going to be the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne.
And we have one driver in the chat, the 4 of Sammy Holmes. Oh, the 19 of Matthew York smacks the wall on the exit of turn number 10. Very unfortunate indeed for Matthew York. Not too much harm down there. He just pretty much gave the wall some paint and got some paint off the wall. So that's not too much harm down there once again. So he is still straight. He is on the track and ready to take another position away. That's going to be 37 of Dustin Hall, his next victim. But going back to the welcome, we do have Sammy Holmes in the chat with the Wrangler Motorsports team and Jacob Braun as well. Good to see you guys. And the 5 of Jason Ashby. Jason Ashby so far being shown 15th behind the 19 of Matthew York. And Jason did start in 17th place, getting 2 spots this far. And going back up front so far, yeah, Cody Johnson did take over the race like you talked about and has a 3.7 second lead against the second place driver 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. Oh, actually, that just changed right now. John LaBeouf taking over second place away from the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. But John LaBeouf, Dave, is still sideways in almost every single turn. You know, Dave, sideways actually looks very, very beautiful. It looks pretty, but it takes your tires away, especially at a track like this. So it's only a matter of time before John LaBeouf slides some more.
Yeah, they got to take care of their tires here. I don't know what the pit window is here at Sonoma, but we only got 50 laps, so we only have 45 laps remaining in tonight's race. So, I mean, they're going to have to save them tires, but we've seen a lot of races here. It's usually won by pit strategy, but right now the fastest guy on the track is going to be the 14 of Paul D. Johnson. He is out front now by 4.2 seconds over the 911 of John LaBeouf.
Yeah, John LaBeouf will try his best to run him down. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost one driver, 81 of Derek Pemberton, who actually looks like he's getting back in the server. Looks like he might have had some technical difficulties there, but he is finally getting back in, so hopefully he's able to get that machine back out so he can be able to put down some more laps before this thing is over. But going back up front, top 5, driver into the top 5, that's going to be the 60 of Cotton Lane from 7th place to 5th place, and Adam Chapman in the back of the pack to 4th place as we speak.
Well, we know Adam Chapman can put down some fast lap times as he was the pole sitter. So, he's dropped back to 8th, already gained those four of those positions back. But he is showing right about 5.6 seconds behind our race leader. There he goes. He's moving up into 3rd. So he's in a podium spot already. He's about 5.8 seconds behind our leader, Paul Johnson.
Yep, if John LaBeouf and Paul D. Johnson are focused on their relative, which shows them how far apart they are from the driver behind them. In this case, 96 of Adam Chapman. They just might find 5th gear to keep him back there for the longest time possible before the green flag pit stops kick in. 96 Adam Chapman right now catching the 911 of John LaBeouf. He has him in his sights on the exit of turn number 10. He gained some time on him before the start-finish line.
I tell you what, I think we're going to give these fans a treat here. We're just going to go on board with the 96 of Adam Chapman as we are watching him try to chase back down and get back out front. So we are going to ride a lap or two here with Adam Chapman here at Sonoma Raceway.
You could see it right there on the in-car so far. Adam Chapman is running down 911 of John LaBeouf, but he did seem to have caught him the last 2 laps. But after that, ever since then, I mean, John LaBeouf was able to keep the gap consistent. So it looks like they're just about even at this point. As you can see right now, Adam Chapman in the 96, he is hitting every single curb he can, because those curbs do help the machines rotate at high speeds. So that is a very, very good bonus. But if you hit the curbs at a wrong angle, that could send you sideways in no time. So far, sideways action off the 96 of Adam Chapman, and because of sideways action, he will lose some time against 911 of John LaBeouf.
Well, going a little back here, Markel Murphy, he is looking to get around the 3 of Dale Robertson. That is going to move him up to 7th, but they are side by side. Still, as Markel Murphy's not able to complete the pass, but right in front of them, the 23 of Craig Hawkins is watching this battle, smiling because it's giving him a chance to start pulling away a little bit.
In trouble on the track, 78 Ron McManus was spun out sideways on the track, was able to hang on to that machine, no harm done. And he will be able to keep those 4 wheels on the racing surface. And not a single scratch on that beast. And he is still rolling as we speak, but being shown 1 lap down.
Moving up a little further here, we're going to focus on the 45 Eddie Hawks, starting 16th, now sitting in 12th position. Chris Perez starting in 8th. He has dropped back a little bit, riding in 10th position. Still not a bad position being in the top 10.
Yeah, not a bad spot whatsoever. Yeah, and so far 45 Eddie Hawks down. Having a motor roaring in his rear. It's 37 of Dustin Hall. Dustin trying to get the spot away from Eddie Hawks. But Eddie Hawks will not let that happen without a fight. And also going for the back in the pack 21 of Trevor White. Lovely spoken match of Trevor White tonight, if any. He is behind the 81 of Derek Pemberton. Pemberton back on the track, being shown 2 laps down. So really, really hoping for some serious luck and hoping for some excellent pit stops. Speaking of pit stops, we have 19 of Matthew York down pit road, this time by. Something tells me that is way too early for a green flag pit stop. That most likely is an unscheduled pit stop, but that is very difficult to tell at this point. But 19 of Matthew York is on pit road as we speak. Oh, actually, Matthew York, heavy damage on that machine. The Comcast NBC Universal paint scheme has seen better days. Damage on the right side and a little bit on the rear. That is most likely why he's on pit road.
Well, Sean, I am looking at the leader now, the 14, Paul Johnson. He's only 1.8 seconds behind John LaBeouf. Not sure what happened, but John LaBeouf and Adam Chapman was able to close that distance in half. We have starting to get a little bit of a good battle up here for our top 3.
That's a very, very good catch right there, Dave. And since John LaBeouf was able to gain time against Paul D. Johnson, he was able to increase the gap in between him and the 96 of Adam Chapman. You know, early on I talked about how, his sideways action was not going to pay off for him, but I stand corrected. That is very wrong. His sideways action definitely paid off. So here, before the race ends, we will try and talk to him about that sideways action, and just pretty much hear what his secret was, if any. Looks like Adam Chapman was able to set him up off the exit of turn number 10, but 911 John LaBeouf still keeping his heavy foot against the 14 of Paul D. Johnson. And at this point, Johnson most likely driving more aggressive, trying to maintain the lead.
Taking a look back here in 5th place to 60 of Colton Lane after starting 7th. He has moved up into 5th place as he is trying to get around the 33 of David Dreckman, who is currently 1 lap down, so that's not for position, as he is trying to get around him and try to catch Jean-Francois Champagne, who's sitting in 4th.
And but these leaders so far, putting down a lot of machines a lap down, one at a time. And so far, drivers being shown 1 lap down. We have Steven Mattox, David Dreckman, Ronald McManus. These 3 drivers all 1 lap down. Matthew York and Derek Pemberton being shown 2 laps down. But Matthew York is still on pit road. His pit crew hard at work trying to straighten the machine out so he can be able to get out there and stay competitive. Because at this point, that damage he has on his machine, Matthew York that is. Oh, 48 of coming from the back of 33 of Jeremy Dreckman. They make contact. No harm done. That could have been ugly. But the 19 of Matthew York is most likely getting some negative rotation on the machine. Basically, the damage is affecting the rotation of the machine, and rotation is very, very important at a track like this, turning both left and right. And a class of here around 33 of David Dreckman, 41, Chris Perez, Joni Pearson, Darren Robertson, all being shown nose to tail. That's going to be 7th place through 9th place, respectively. So they are very, very close to each other and ready to take each other out. Well, take the positions away from each other. And 21 of Trevor White down pit road this time by Trevor White as well, with some damage on the machine, right side damage, actually front end damage as well on it. And his pit crew most likely is trying to straighten that machine out. I'm not sure what happened to Trevor White, but most likely turn number 10, because it has claimed a lot of drivers already.
Yeah, most definitely here, as we are now just completing lap 13 of 50. Just giving us only 38 more laps to go. These guys still running anywhere between 1:17 to 1:22 lap times, so they're ticking these laps down pretty quick.
And going back up front so far, Paul Johnson still maintained the race against John LaBeouf and Adam Chapman. But they are very, very close to him. He knows any single mistake he makes will go against him, work against him. But with John LaBeouf and Adam Chapman, and Adam so far just hoping that LaBeouf catches up to Paul D. Johnson so he can be able to benefit from it due to the battle that's going to brew up between the two. And further back in the pack, 37 of Dustin Hall so far being shown the first driver, I should say the last driver on the lead lap, trying to stay on the lead lap here. His next victim is the 8 of Steven Aguirre, 14th place spot. So he is trying his best to catch the 8 of Aguiar before the green flag pit stops kick in. So far the drivers have done about, let's see, completed 14 laps this far. So here in the next, I believe, here in the next 10 laps, green flag pit stops should kick in. And Dave, after the racing over tracks all season long this far, you know, most drivers are used to oval racing and not road racing. So basically, this Sonoma Raceway is new to most, including myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's new to most of the oval racing, as this is actually on the NASCAR Monster Energy schedule. So they race here at least once a year, especially for leagues that follow the schedule. So, wouldn't say it's new, but it's definitely not one of their favorite tracks for most.
Most definitely a great correction indeed. And for the back in the pack, we have the 23 of Craig Hawkins so far behind the 33 of David Dreckmanas. 23 of Hawkins has sustained some rear end damage on that machine. So I'm not sure what happened to him. Looks like it was some bumping, rubbing and racing going on there between him and whoever might have made contact with him. Also, the 27 Danny Duchesne. I expect much of Danny Duchesne tonight, but he is in 10th place behind the 41 of Chris Perez. And ladies and gentlemen, we are now 15 laps in, 36 laps left in tonight's race. We will take our first commercial break of tonight's race so you guys can get your first round of popcorn and refreshments, so we can get a thank our sponsors as well. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series brought to you by GenXRacing.com and GymXRacing.com. GenX Racing is an iRacing-based racing team. They do run a lot of different series. For example, they run B Open, C Open, A Open. So basically the Xfinity Series, Truck Series, Cup Series, Super Late Models, NIS, Precision Racing League, and a lot more. For example, Legends, road racing, Can-Am cars, whatever looks fun, they do it all. That is GenXRacing.com. And GymX Racing is a new sponsor here at the Precision Racing League. They do specialize in industrial and transportation hardware. So check them out at GymX.com. not Jimex Racing, but Jimex.com. Spelling of that is JIMEXS.com, and it's right there on the top right of your screen. So Jimex, and on the top left is Gen X Racing. So I want to thank all the sponsors once again for making all of this possible here at the Precision Racing League. We're going back to the race. Green flag pit stops have kicked in. We have a new race leader, 96 of Adam Chapman so far. Still needs to pit in though. Taking over the race lead. He qualified on the pole and finally getting a chance to lead some laps so far. 13 of Jeff Francois Champagne being shown second. Markel Murphy third. Colton Lane fourth. And Danica Johnson or Pody Johnson in the the fifth place spot, running up the top 5. And let's see, so far I noticed that previous race leader before the commercial break was the 14. Oh, we have some trouble on the track on the front stretch with the driver spun out sideways. We're going to try and get a number on it.
That's going to be the 41 of Chris Perez, so we are going to pull up the Dre Broadcasting replay. See if we can see exactly what happened here. As we're going to try to see if we can't rewind exactly what happened to him. Oh, he just lost it there coming to the start-finish line, hit that inside barrier, and unfortunately had to tow his car.
Oh, absolutely. I was about to say that's a very unusual place to lose control, but then I realized that there was a little bit of a bump you talked about right there. Once he hit that bump, the back end just got upset and sent the front end straight into the left side wall. And great job to him minimizing that, because it definitely could have been worse. And great awareness by every single driver out there. Well, going back to what I was talking about early on, Pody Johnson was the leader before the commercial break, and he pitted in with about, that was 17 laps on his tires, which was lap 17 at that point. So with that said, he will need to pit in. If he pits on the same strategy, he's going to be pitting in on lap number 34 or 35. And speaking of pitting in, the leader going down pit road this time by 96 Adam Chapman pitting in as we speak. And that's going to pass the race over to the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne if he stays out. Yep, Jean-Francois Champagne staying out this time by taking over the race lead on lap number 21. And from the calculations I had made, if actually no, that's not going to be true. I was going to say that if from the calculations I made, if Johnson pits in on lap 34 and running tank driver was lap 17, that means he was going to end up being 1 lap short. But scratch that, drivers are going all the way over 20 laps on their tanks. So just one more pit stop, they should be able to make it the rest of the way. And so far, drivers still need to pit in, include Jean-Francois Champagne, Markel Murphy, Colton Lane, Dale Robertson, Joni Pierce, and Craig Hawkins, including Jason Ashby, Steven Aguiar, and Dustin Hall. Oh, including Steven Mattox as well. All these drivers still need to pit in before too long.
Yes, we got a new race leader. It's going to be the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. He is out leading here on lap 21. I have a feeling he's going to try to extend this out and make this a 2 pit stop race, as we are now 30 laps to go as he is on lap 21 of 50. Coming across the start finish line, that's lap 22. I think he's going to try to push it and make it on a 2 pit stop strategy, or 1 pit stop strategy, I mean.
Absolutely, that could work. I mean, maybe if he runs his tank dry, that means he will have to take... actually, yeah, maybe that just might work, but fingers crossed. We're going to see exactly how that plays out. But Dave, if it ends up working out, something tells me the tires will come back and bite him.
Well, you'll have to see, though, because I think if he can make it on a 1 pit stop strategy, though, everybody else is going to have to come in and steal one more time. See how it plays out as he is leading, but Paul Johnson there sitting in 3rd now. He was the first guy to pit, so he's got 5 laps on his tires, but he is out there. But he's going to have to pit one more time in order to make it the complete race.
Most definitely, and so far pit road getting busier by the lap. We have Craig Hawkins on pit road this time by with only a few drivers left, still left to pit in. So we're gonna see pit road getting busier and busier with every single lap. So fingers crossed that every pit strategy out there works out. And so far, the fastest pit stop we had was the 14 of Cody Johnson with the 5.8 seconds. I believe that most likely was only a 2-tire pit stop, because we had John LaBeouf taking 4.2 seconds on pit road. So that most likely was a 4-tire pit stop.
10-4 on that, yeah. But I tell you what, Jean-Francois Champagne's got a little bit of competition behind him. 48 of Markel Murphy, only 7/10 behind him. He is sitting there in position. But Markel's still got a pit as well. So it looks like Markel Murphy's going on the same pit strategy as the current leader, Jean-Francois Champagne.
Oh yeah, this is not a good thing for Markel Murphy or the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. The leader is right behind them. Well, the previous leader, she's the first driver to pit in while leading. That was the 14 of Cody Johnson. So it's always a bad day. It's always a bad time when the leader catches up to you before you go down pit road. And right now it's 48 of Murphy and Jean-Francois in his sights, and they do see him, and they are trying to find fifth gear. But once again, he most likely has newer tires. Well, he has two tires newer than they do. So with that said, that still will work with Johnson, but against Murphy and Champagne.
Yeah, these guys are going to have to go 2 more laps if they're going to make it on a one-pitch strategy. So this will be interesting. It's, as I said earlier, this race is going to come down to fuel mileage and pitch strategy. So we'll have to see how this is going to play out, as we are just now approaching the halfway point of tonight's race.
Yep, and after 14 of Johnson pitted in, he has been running 1 minute 17-second lap times, 2 seconds faster than both Markel Murphy and Jean-Francois Champagne. And you should keep in mind that all these seconds do end up adding up. They turn into 2 minutes, and before you know it, they'll turn into an hour. So basically, that means that you will end up, this time you're losing, will come back and work against you. So you can never be too comfortable. And yep, let's see, like you said, 2 more laps before they're good to make it on 1 lap. 27 laps left. Oh, trouble on the track. Adam Chapman, 14 of Johnson, making contact. Entering turn number 10. Holy cow, that was almost going to be ugly. But the 14 of Johnson was able to dust it off, and so was the 96 of Adam Chapman. No harm done. They still stay going straight.
Yeah, as our race leaders, so Markel Murphy and Jean-Francois Champagne coming down pit road for their pit stop here on lap 25. I wonder how low they were on fuel, if they could have went 1 more lap, because technically we still got 26 laps to go, Sean.
Yeah, something tells me they went, yeah, I was actually having doubts right there too, because they pitted in with 24 laps on their tanks. With 27 laps remaining. So with that said, they most likely will be 2 to 3 laps short. Well, I mean, they can be able to save, it's nearly impossible to save that much gas, especially a track like this, or Sonoma Raceway. So something tells me, Dave, if anything, they're going to be going down pit road for a splash and go. Yeah, spending at least, I don't know, 2 to 3 seconds on pit road, taking maybe just 1 to 2 gallons of fuel. Most likely it's going to be their next best option. But fingers crossed, and hopefully that works out for them, so that the 96 Adam Chapman right now is catching the 14 of Cody Johnson and trying to take back the race lead. And previously, before the green flag pit stops had kicked in, John LaBeouf was being shown in second place behind Cody Johnson, about 1.1 seconds to 1.5 seconds behind Johnson. But now that has gone down to 11 seconds back. So it looks like John LaBeouf had some trouble early on or something.
Yeah, that's the thing is about these tracks, these road courses. It's hard to make up that much time in a race, especially since we're now beyond the halfway point here with just 25 laps remaining. We're right at the halfway point.
Absolutely, finally is now go time with 60 of Cotton Lane. Cotton Lane on pit road as we speak, being shown 4th place. Ever since Cotton came into the top 5, he has not been able to get away from the top 5 and has been getting nothing but higher up in position. and is now going to be trying to run down those race leaders. Just exited pit road this time by. We have Johnny Pierce as well exiting pit road as we speak. But we have 2 more drivers left to pit in. That's going to include Dustin Hall and Eddie Hawks. So 2 more, actually no, not Eddie Hawks, that's Steven Mattox. So Steven Mattox and Dustin Hall still need to pit in.
Yeah, these guys have gone 25 laps since their last pit. Unfortunately, Steven Maddox, Dustin Hall is 1 lap down. So, I don't think that's going to really make up too much difference. But right now, the battle up front is going to be between the 14 of Paul Johnson and the 96 of Adam Chapman, as they are just separated by a few car lengths.
They are catching up to the 78 of Ron McManus. Ron McManus right now will try his best to fight these guys to avoid going 1 more lap. Down 6 of Mattox spun out sideways on the exit of the turn. The portion of Johnson, the 96 of Adam Chapman do clear him successfully. No harm done. Yeah, Steven Mattox, heavy front end damage on the right front, the right side of that hood. So it looks like he made contact with something early on or something, and that most likely is affecting the right side rotation of that machine. That's where the most damage is the right side of the right front, which is the most important part, especially a track like this. But right now, Steven Mattox headed down pit road as we speak to pit in.
Looks like Markel Murphy was able to get around the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne. That's going to move him up into 4th position. He is pretty good distance behind 3rd place John LeBoeuf, showing right now about 22.5 seconds. So he's got some time to make up. As our top 3, actually the whole field is pretty much spread out here, as we are now getting ready to come up on the 22 laps to go.
And speaking of Markel Murphy, Dave Markel has made up a lot of time. He continues making up a lot of time with every single lap. He is running way faster lap times compared to the top 3 drivers, Cody Johnson, Adam Chapman, and John LeBoeuf, and continues to just pretty much up his pace, increase his pace with every single lap. But 37 seconds back is no joke. That is a long way behind them. So with that said, he will have to up his game even more to try and gain that time back. But if he's not having to pit in 1 more time, because he pitted in the latest, basically he ran his tank dry. If it ends up working out for him, he will be able to get around him, or should be able to get around him, since they will be pitting in before too long.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with just 23 laps to go, we are going to use this time here to take our second commercial break of the night, as we are bringing you live from Sonoma, the American iRacing Sunday Series, sponsored by Gen X Racing, here with the Precision Racing League. We'll be right back.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, round number 6, right here at Sonoma Raceway on the Dre Broadcasting Network. It's brought to you by GenXRacing.com and GemX.com. GenX Racing is a racing team, iRacing based racing team. They do run a lot of series here on the iRacing side of things. They do run A-Open, which that is the Cup cars. They also run Xfinity Series, Truck Series, Precision Racing League, NIS, Road Racing, Legends, K&N cars, you name it. They do it all. So that's GenXRacing.com. Also a new sponsor that came on board this season with the Precision Racing League, GemX. That's GemX.com. They do specialize in industrial and transportation hardware. They do have J-boxes. I mean, they have boxes, J-light. Basically, those are LED packages, off-road packages, and a whole lot of things. So just sum it up, industrial and transportation hardware. But going back to the race, our final pit stops have started to kick in. The previous leaders, Danica Johnson, Porty Johnson, and Adam Chapman have already gone down pit road for the final pit stop of the evening. And because of that, Markel Murphy was able to gain some time from them. Before they pitted in, he was about 38 seconds behind them. But now it's down to 13 seconds. So it looks like there is hope for Markel Murphy and Jacques Francois, both drivers who ran their tanks dry during the first round of green flag pit stops, hoping to make it on only one pit stop. But it's not looking too good for these two drivers, Murphy and Champagne. Because from the calculations we made, they most likely will be at least 1 to 2 laps short. So fingers crossed for these drivers, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming down on the nitty-gritty as they're getting ready to come here. Lap 34, 17 laps remaining. These laps are ticking down, so it's go time. They know that they want to make up points there to try to do is the 14 of Porty Johnson. He has led so far 25 laps here tonight. Adam Chapman leading 4. Jean-Francois Champagne leading 3 laps. And John LaBeouf leading 1 lap.
Yeah, great job indeed to every single driver leading at least 1 lap here tonight. They do strive to, they do try their best to lead some laps, trying to get the extra bonus point for leading a lap. Very, very impressive, because those points once again do really help these guys in the long run. Those points act as a helping hand or a safety barrier in case these drivers fall, and those points are there to hold their hands and just pretty much catch them. Because once again, no chase series here with the Precision Racing League, just a 12-race regular season. So with that said, every single point matters. Going for the back in the pack 60 of Cotton Lane, still in the top 5 behind 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne, 4 seconds behind Jean-Francois, and trying his best to catch Jean-Francois before too long for the 4th place position. John LaBeouf is 6th, Johnny Pierce 7th, Danny Duchesne 8th, Dale Robertson 9th, and Jason Ashby in the 10th place spot. This far, having only 9 drivers on the lead lap, with Dale Robertson being the last driver on the lead lap, and Jason Ashby, first driver, 1 lap down with the Wrangler Motorsports team. And so far, the 27 of Danny Duchesne is being shown 8th place behind the 16 of Johnny Pierce for position number 7. He's trying his best to catch up to him. Status check on the 23 of Craig Hawkins being shown 1 lap down in 11th place and trying to get his lap back the hard way. And Steven Aguiar in a cluster so far, 19. Matthew York back on the racing surface. Haven't spoken much of Matthew York. He was on pit road for a very long time. His pit crew hard at work trying to straighten the machine out. They're finally able to do a good enough job for it to be able to stay competitive and for it to be able to rotate rightward, because that's where all the damage is. I mean, he's struggling a little bit with the rotation, but it is still getting the job done. Still going nice and strong. Being shown 17 laps down, 21st place. He's very determined. That's very good to see. And behind Matthew York is the 45 of Eddie Hawks in 13th place. No harm done here. And Johnny Pierce right now in the 7th place spot behind the 911 of John LaBeouf. And speaking of John LaBeouf here so far being shown 30 seconds behind the leaders. The 14 of Porty Johnson and the 96 of Adam Chapman. He is trying his best to catch up to them, but John LaBeouf is very, very far back with 15 laps left here in tonight's race. It is possible, but very, very difficult to do.
Yeah, most definitely. As we're coming down to the nitty-gritty, 15 laps here at Sonoma. Is Adam Chapman looking to the outside there of Paul Johnson, not able to complete it, but he tried to get his nose in there to take away that lead. But Paul D. Johnson was able to hold him off and maintain that #1 spot.
Yeah, you've seen all race long, Adam Chapman has been trying his best to just play mind games against the 14 of Paul D. Johnson, but Johnson not falling for it, just hitting his marked sweet spots every single lap. No mistakes whatsoever. Oh, sideways, under braking, entering turn number 10 on the exit. They're going to be side by side, and this is Adam Chapman on the right side of the 14 of Johnson, but Johnson will successfully clear him on the across the start-finish line. Oh, Adam to the inside of the 14 of Johnson. Johnson will stay right. The pass successfully made against Johnson. And that's going to give us lead change number 4, Dave.
You are correct, Sean. That's going to be lead change number 4 so far tonight.
Oh, 10-4. Yep, it's very, very good to be right for once. I'm always wrong. I'm always like at least 1 to 2 numbers short when it comes to lead changes. But I'm glad I was able to get that one for once. And so far, 14 of Johnson is trying to get his, what was rightfully his, which was that race lead against Adam Chapman. But Adam will not let that happen. I mean, he won't let it happen at all. And will put in a fight until the death. And so far, 14 laps left here in tonight's race. And Marquez being shown now 11 seconds behind both Chapman and Johnson, first and second.
Yeah, most definitely. But I tell you what, this is our closest battle on the track here. Is the rest of the field's pretty spread out from one another here. So we really don't have any real close racing for position. Is we kind of just scroll through the field here. Is we have quite a few cars down on pit road now. Eddie Hawks down on pit road. Trevor White on pit road. Ronald McManus. Derek Pemberton. David Drackman. Matthew York. And Chris Perez.
And also for all those new viewers, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are glad to have you. And you are watching the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. This is round number 6 of 12, the halfway mark of this season. And for all of you interested in joining us a league like this, they do run B cars. This season they're doing open setups. They run ovals, but they do mix it up and throw at least one road course every single season. And it had to be Sonoma this season. So with that said, if you guys like to do some green flag pistols, so much hard racing, rubbing is racing. By the end of the race, you're going to have at least someone else's paint before that. That's how much fun these guys have, and they keep coming back every single week, and the racing gets nothing but better with every single race. So if you guys would like to be a part of the action, check them out, precisionracingleague.com. That is precisionracingleague.com. Sign-ups will open as soon as the season ends, but you have to race your way in, because they take only the best of the best drivers, and they cap their fields to 32 drivers maximum. And also adding on to that, they do have 4-man teams. Well, each team is going to have a total of 4 drivers, a total of 8 teams. So that's 32 drivers. Once again, they do cap their fields at 32 drivers. So once again, if you'd like to be a part of it, precisionracingleague.com, and you will not be disappointed. Going back up front, Dave, the lead gap, the gap in between Johnson and Chapman is now 3.2 seconds. So Dave, looks like Johnson might have burned up his stuff trying to keep Chapman behind him.
Yeah, it's a definite possibility as we are 12 laps to go. Time is counting down here for Paul Johnson, who's looking for his first win. But right now, the man out front is going to be our pole sitter, Adam Chapman.
In status check on Cotton Lane, Cotton Lane has fallen out of the top 5 behind his next victim, the 911 of John LaBeouf, who's holding the keys and the door to the top 5. They are about, let's see, that's going to be about 6 seconds apart from each other. So Colton is trying his best to catch up to John LaBeouf and hopefully take away that 5th place position to lock himself into the top 5. And Johnny Pierce still 7th. We now have 7 drivers only 7 drivers on the lead lap. and everybody else 1 or more laps down. Dale Robertson still being the first driver 1 lap down in the 8th place spot, and trying to stay away or stay ahead of the drivers a lap down, namely Danny Duchesne, Jason Ashby, Stephen Aguiar, Craig Hawkins, Dustin Hall. All these drivers being shown 1 lap down. You know, Dave, a track like this, we talked about how we don't have full course cautions. And we have so many drivers, who make some mistakes here and there. These tracks are very, very difficult. It's very hard to have an oval machine on a road course, because with these things, when you're turning right, the front wheels seem to want to leave the ground. And with that said, no traction, only the left front wheel is doing all the work, which makes it extra difficult to rotate these machines. And you have to be perfect every single lap. You have to be slow in, fast out, too fast in. You might not be able to get out of that turn, so you have to be careful. You have to stay awake. That's one thing also, Dave, is losing concentration on a track like this at a road course is very easy.
Yeah, it's basically it's a technical track. These guys know that. They've been practicing now for 2 weeks. So a lot of these drivers have put countless hours into working on their setup. But Adam Chapman, him and his crew have dialed in that Toyota Tundra or Toyota Camry there, and he's putting a pretty good show on out here, as he is now leading here with just 10 laps to go.
Yeah, speaking of Adam Chapman, he has increased, or I should say extended his lead against Danica Johnson from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, 5.7 seconds that is. So it looks like Paudie Johnson's tires have finally gone away, but Markel being shown now 12 seconds behind Adam Chapman. So it looks like Adam Chapman was able to increase his gap against Paudie Johnson and Markel Murphy at the exact same time. And going a little bit further back in the pack, we have the 5 of Jason Ashby so far in the 10th place spot, hanging on to the top 10 position. His next victim, 27, of Danny Duchesne. And status check on 21 of Trevor White. Last time we checked on Trevor White was on pit road getting some damage fixed on that machine. His pit crew was able to do the best that they could, and so far he is now doing an amazing job, being shown 16th place, 4 laps down, but still determined to get as many points as he can. But on pit road so far, we do have David Dreckman, Derek Pemberton, Ronald McManus, and Chris Perez all getting some damage fixed.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot of these drivers not their favorite track, but we did still have 24 cars out tonight, so we had 21 take the green flag, and as you said, we still have currently out on the track, we still have 17 cars out on the track.
Absolutely, and for all those viewers just tuning in, once again, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. And tonight, you are watching the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are missing a lot of drivers. We have a field of 32 drivers this season, but only about 24, actually 21, started tonight to race, because most of the drivers are in the path of Hurricane Irma. So please keep them all in your thoughts and prayers, and everything will be okay. Going back up front, Dave, position change between Jean-Francois Champagne. Oh, actually, Jean-Francois going down pit road this time by. And since Jean-Francois did the same thing that Markel Murphy did, these two drivers stayed out the longest on their tires or on their tanks. The first round of green flag pit stops to try and make it on only one pit stop. Since he will not be able to make it on just one pit stop, so will Markel Murphy. So Markel will be pitting in here, Dave, before too long.
I don't know. I have a feeling Markel's going to try to push it, Sean. He's going to try to complete this race on a one pit stop strategy.
Yeah, if that's the case, hopefully he has someone in mind to help him, or at least push him at the start-finish line, so he can be able to complete the race. But fingers crossed for Markel Murphy, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, but going back up front, Adam Chapman has pulled out He is now 8.9 seconds ahead of Paul Johnson. However, Markel Murphy is actually catching Paul Johnson, now only 2.7 seconds behind him.
And Cotton Lane status check, he is now back, finally back in the top 5 behind 9-11 of John LaBeouf. They are about 10 seconds apart. So Cotton once again still trying to take away as many spots as he can to finish up as high up as he can to better his position in the point standings. Very, very nice race indeed by Cotton Lane tonight. So far started in the 6th place position in points starting tonight's race, and hoping to improve that before the next week's race at Kansas Speedway for support for D. LaBeouf.
Well, last race's winner, the 16 of Johnny Pierce, he is sitting back in 6th position after starting in 9th. Probably was hoping for a good top 5, maybe a top 3, but he's sitting comfortably back here in 6th.
Yeah, and all race long, Johnny Pierce was running in the 7th place position. Was able to gain one spot and is now in 6th. And being shown as well 10 seconds behind his next victim, the 60 of Cotton Lane. So, trouble on the track. That's going to be the... Oh, missed the machine. Was spun out right in front of the 16 of Johnny Pierce. I'll try and get a number on that. Oh, it was a 19 of Matthew York spun out sideways. That was some smoke on the track. It looks like he had a very, very bad... looks like he hit the curb at the wrong angle, and the right wheels lifted off the ground. He hit the gas a little too soon before the wheels had landed back on the racing surface, which did upset the machine.
Well, Sean, look at this. We're 6 laps to go as the 96 of Adam Chapman working through this technical backstretch here, as he has only got a few more turns before he'll cross the start-finish line, bringing us 5 laps to go.
Yep, definitely. Yep, it is definitely a go time at this point. 6 laps left. A lot of drive. Oh, Adam Chapman off the racing surface. That is something you don't want to do, is go off the track on a road course, because then either the grass or the sand will really upset your machine. And Adam Chapman did let off the gas to avoid upsetting the machine, because there's no traction whatsoever. I should say little to no traction in the sand, but no harm was done to Adam Chapman. But going back, speaking of Adam Chapman, he is now being shown, let's see, 8.6 seconds ahead of Danica Johnson, or Paul D. Johnson. Markel Murphy being shown 12 seconds behind Adam Chapman. So the gap in between Murphy and Chapman has been consistent in the last 10 laps.
Yeah, but I tell you what, Paul D. Johnson's picked up the pace a little bit. We did see that Markel Murphy closed the gap just to a couple seconds, but he is now showing 4.7 seconds behind Paul Johnson, sitting in 2nd. So right now it's Adam Chapman leading, Danica Johnson, Paul D. Johnson sitting in 2nd, and Markel Murphy rounding out your top 3.
I know, Dave. It's it's pretty funny. Danica Johnson. Yeah, you have to keep correcting yourself, reminding yourself as who he is. Very nice joke right there, Danica Johnson. But so far we have a status check. New driver back on the track. A driver who was on pit road. That is David Dreckman back on the track, putting down some more laps. The most he can. He is in the 18th place spot. 14 laps down, and that machine definitely has seen better days. And he lets everybody by the 6 of Cotton Lane so far. No harm done. And status checking between the gap of the 60 of Cotton Lane and John LaBeouf, still about 10 seconds. But so far the closest driver is so far 6 seconds apart. That's going to be Johnny Pierce and Jean-Francois Champagne. Jean-Francois already just pitted in not too long ago. So if he took tires, actually status check on that, 2.8 seconds. So no, he didn't take any tires. So he's on the exact same strategy as the 16 of Johnny Pierce. So at this point they're about even.
But the guy we're going to have to keep an eye on, 48 Markel Murphy, 22 laps now on his tires, as we are still probably about 4.5 laps remaining.
Yep, the most we saw them go on their tires, namely Markel Murphy and Jean-Francois Champagne, was 24 laps on their tires. So 2 more laps, moment of truth, fingers crossed for Markel Murphy. Hopefully it works out once again. And up front, 14 of Johnson is battling some lap traffic. 21 of Trevor White stays left to let him by on the right side. No harm done. This is working against Paulie Johnson, but with the 96 of Adam Chapman. And there was some heavy smoke under braking from the 8 of Stephen Aguiar on on the entrance to turn number 10, but no harm was done.
You know, Sean, 3 laps to go. I tell you, this field's pretty spread out. I'm not really seeing any close battles, even though Denny Duchesne, he is only about 1.8 seconds behind the 3 of Dale Robertson, so that would be a battle for 8th position if he was able to catch him.
Absolutely, we definitely sees that. 3 laps left here in tonight's race. Hopefully he's going to be able to catch up to him, give us a very good battle there between them. They are trying their best to beat each other in the point standings, because those points do really matter, as these guys are trying their best to dethrone the defending champion, the one of James O'Brien, who unfortunately as well is in the path of Hurricane Irma, same as the Cody Natmiller, our current point standings driver, our current point standings leader, that is. And so far, 3 laps left here in tonight's race. Markel Murphy, status check on him. He's now going on to 25 laps on his tires, on his tank as well, but still going nice and strong as we speak.
Yeah, only 2 laps to go here, so we got 2 more laps, but Adam Chapman, as long as he hits his points, hit his braking marks, runs consistent laps here, he's going to come away with the win here tonight at Sonoma.
Yeah, and Adam Chapman's chain of events, he qualifies on the pole tonight, but was not able to get a good a good start to the race. Was able to take back all the spots that he had lost because of due to the standing start. So very nicely done by Adam Chapman. Very nicely executed pit stops on his part and the rest of his crew out there. Nicely done. Well, 2 laps left. Next lap is the white flag. 1 lap remaining after this.
Yeah, most definitely here as Adam Chapman is working his way around the technical back here. Just a couple more turns and he is going to get the white flag here at Sonoma.
And Dave Markel Murphy has lost about 4 seconds against leader 96 of Adam Chapman. Something tells me, Dave, that Markel backed it down to save some gas.
Yeah, we're going to see. He's 24 laps since his last pit, coming on 25. He is going to have to go 26 laps to make it on fuel. Looks like he is just going to let people go around him. He is backing it down. But John LaBeouf is only 14.5 seconds behind him. So, can John LaBeouf get up to and past the 48 of Markel Murphy to get on the podium?
Oh man, we are about to find out. And yep, Markel Murphy has definitely backed it down. Had to try and, less throttle input, less gas burn. 8 of Aguirre in front of him off the track. He's back on the track, no harm done. And Markel still just pretty much playing with the gas pedal, trying his best to just limit his speed. But John LaBeouf sees that the relative is getting nothing but smaller. The gap in between them getting nothing less smaller. That's going to put a big smile on LaBeouf's face.
Yeah, he would love to come out of here with the top 3. Now only 11 seconds behind the 48 of Markel Murphy, but he is going to have to step it up because the 96 of Adam Chapman is coming here into the hard right-hand horseshoe pin as he is getting ready to take the checkered flag here at Sonoma.
Yeah, Adam Chapman brings this thing home after qualifying on the pole. Nicely done his part. 14 of Paulie Johnson exiting turn number 10 as we speak, and becoming in second place. Markel Murphy. Gonna let's focus on the 48 of Markel Murphy and let's see whether or not he makes it. Oh man, that engine. Oh, he's shifting very quickly, trying his best to make sure he makes it. And yeah, and wrecking in front of Markel. 81 of Derek Emerson, he gets into him. Oh my god. He crossed our finish line in the fourth place spot, Dave. He backed it down to avoid the wreck. And John LaBeouf benefits from that very greatly. Oh man, very unfortunate indeed for Markel Murphy. And great job to John LaBeouf. Well, there you have it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Chapman first, Danica Johnson, Porty Johnson second, John LaBeouf third, Markel Murphy fourth, and Cotton Lane in the 5th place spot. And holy cow, John LaBeouf, what a heck of a race. We'll be interviewing the top 3 drivers, Adam Chapman, Danica Johnson, and John LaBeouf, so stay tuned.
Good race, guys. Paul, that was fun.
Yeah, who's that?
It's Adam.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined up in the Dre broadcasting booth by the top 3 drivers, Adam Chapman, Danica Porty Johnson, and the 911 of John LaBeouf taking a last-second 3rd place finish here in tonight's race. We started with the race winner 96 of Adam Chapman, representing the Overtaker Motorsports racing team. You're up there, Adam.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that.
How are you doing tonight?
Better now.
I can only imagine, brother. And tell us about the start to tonight's race, Adam. It seemed as though you were expecting a pace lap, just like we were, but then it caught us off guard as well when you guys had a standing start.
Yeah, my spotter Joe Burchett, we was sitting there talking to each other, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden the lights popped up, and I was like, okay, where's the pace car? And I realized that it turned green in my head. I wasn't thinking. And then I was like, oh, this is a standing start, and it kind of just completely caught me off guard, but luckily we battled back. It's okay.
Oh, copy that. And that is all that matters. And tell us about the battle between you and the 911 of John LaBeouf, because it seemed like you guys were battling a lot before the first round of green flag pit stops, trying your best to catch up to the 14 of Porty Johnson.
Yeah, the pit stops I was a little worried about because I was actually had way too much tape on the car, and my lights was flashing red. And honestly, if it wasn't for the pit stop, you know, I thought we was done, to be completely honest. But my spotter was telling me to keep showing myself to him, and hopefully he would overdrive or something like that. And you know, there was a couple times he did, but he did a great job on holding, you know, us off completely. And then, of course, I got into the 14 on accident as well. But all in all, it was a fantastic race, and honestly, I couldn't have done it without the help of my team. We did not get the setup done until the last 30 minutes of practice, so it was a little tough.
Oh man, holy cow! That is very, very impressive. 30 minutes before the server 30 minutes before the race, you get the setup done, and you dominate with it all race long. And how are you able to prepare for this race? Because it's not your usual, you know, cup of tea. Basically, you're going from an oval track to a road course with oval machines.
Yeah, me and my teammate Derek Pemberton and the Overtake guys, we went into a session and practiced a little bit here and there. We knew Sonoma would be my best chance to win, but I've been struggling so much at the oval tracks, and honestly, I love oval racing, but I knew I would have somewhat of a, you know, advantage, I thought, with the help of Joe Burchett, my spotter, because he's a fantastic road racer, and he's really helped me how to work, you know, throttle control and stuff like that, and how to really utilize it to make the advantage better. And you know, it did pay off at the end, and I'm going to be honest, it really surprised me. Like, I'm not lying, there's some great racers in here, and I'm very impressed on how we ran tonight.
Oh, absolutely, and it was an amazing performance on your part tonight, Adam, doing the Overtake Motorsports team. Very, very proud. And with that said, do you plan on carrying this momentum over to next week's track, Kansas Speedway?
Yeah, Kansas is my favorite track. We're going to be good. I can't tell you how good, because I don't know for sure. There's some really good guys. I mean, Cody Nat Miller, who's not in here tonight, I was hoping he would be here to see what we would do against him, but I think that we can have a solid top 5. That's my favorite track ever, so we'll see. But, you know, we really got to get the setup dialed in, and I love racing highline tracks, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, copy that, and I like that a lot right there, Adam. Yeah, basically telling Cody Nat Miller, yeah, you're lucky you're not here tonight. Well, buddy, congratulations on your success tonight. Your first win this season.
Yeah,
look forward to seeing you again next week at Kansas, buddy. Go celebrate.
Thanks a lot, man. Real fast, I want to give everybody thoughts and prayers of what's going on in Florida and, of course, Texas. That's way more important than racing. So thank you guys for broadcasting as well. That's awesome, and I love watching them.
And that was tonight's race winner, the 96 of Adam Chapman with the Overtake Racing team. Well, next in line is the 14 of Danica Johnson. Danica, Paul D. Johnson. Gonna come up there, Paul.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Just to clarify, which one should we call you? Because we've been calling you both names already.
Well, they were joking about during some of the practice. Some of the guys were joking that I was crashing a lot during a practice. So one of the organizers went into the to the driver list and set my nickname in iRacing as Danica, which we had no idea that when you joined a league race that it would use the nickname, not my original name. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Oh, 10-4. Yeah, we definitely did have we had a very good time, good laugh about that. But how's your race tonight?
Went good. I don't know if Adam took tires on that first pit stop or not. I'm guessing he didn't. I forgot to actually set my car to take tires. So it was a little bit rough there, but it wasn't bad. And when he pitted on the next one, he did not take tires. So I knew the only way I had a chance. I mean, he was faster than me all night. The only way I had a chance was to take another pit stop with no fuel and just get in front of him. And I mean that's asking a lot to go 18 laps, with a guy behind you that's faster than you and try to hold him off. And he did exceptional. He never forced it. He'd look inside a couple times, and if it wasn't there, he backed out. And I know it can get extremely frustrating when you got a guy in front of you that's a little bit slower. But kudos to Adam for just being patient. And when he finally got alongside, I wasn't gonna just let him have it, but I was trying not to. I didn't want to cause anything. I knew he was faster, and he finally did get around me. It took him a while, but he finally did get past me. So.
Oh, 10-4, but it was still an amazing battle all race long on your part, Paul. And Paul, in the very beginning, when you took over the race lead, we had John LeBoeuf and Adam Chapman about 5 to 7 seconds behind you between the two drivers, and they were able to run you down to about 1 to 2 seconds actually behind you in only a matter of 2 laps. So after they caught up to you and were 1.1 seconds behind you, the gaps all of a sudden just stopped and kept increasing with every single lap. Just about that, we just pretty much bored up front and was hoping for them to catch you and then put it on the floor again.
No, I was running good, and I was being really, really kind to my tires because I got a good jump off that start. And I was so far in front, I was just backing every corner up, being really, really kind to them. And then when I caught some lap traffic and I got held up, and when I finally got around them, that's why they caught me. They're so quick there. I got held up with some lap traffic for a while, and then once they caught up to me, I was able to hammer down a little bit because I had saved my tires. I don't know if I was thinking about taking tires that second pit stop, and maybe I don't know if I could have reeled them back in or not, but. She started to get to really greasy about 35, 36 laps in.
Oh, copy that, and I can only imagine. But I said a well-fought battle on your part tonight, Paul. And Paul, when you noticed that, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but we had Markel Murphy and Jean-Francois Champagne trying to make it on only one pit stop. At that point, did you feel that you had made the wrong strategy, the wrong pit call?
Actually, no, because if you remember from the broadcast last year, I tried that same method at Spa and it ended up costing me an easy win. So I just said, nope, I'm not going to try that again. It took me out at Spa, so we're just not even going to risk it. And I took 2 pit stops and hoped that the guys behind me, they were pushing pretty hard to catch back up to me, so I figured they'd have to take 2 as well. So nope, I wasn't worried.
Oh, copy that. Very, very glad to hear that. And it was a well-fought battle on your part tonight. Once again, Paul starting second and finishing the second place spot after executing excellent green flag pit stops, despite you having some trouble there with your pit crew and communication on whether to take tires or not. We're still able to hold off these guys for the most part all race long and finishing in the second place spot. Well, any final words before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to the guys who were really helping with setups this week. I'm pretty horrible when it comes to setups, so I rely on other guys to kind of take my feedback and help me with it. Eddie and John there at the end, and the guys with Johnny Pierce and his team kind of getting practices. And I don't know the difference between a tire and a lug nut, so when it comes to it, those guys have been really, really helpful getting a competitive setup for me.
Well, once again, Danica, Paul Johnson, we hope that you have an amazing night tonight. It was an amazing race on your part, and this should put a very, very big smile on your face. And look forward to seeing this momentum carry over, and hopefully it carries over double. Actually, it doubles, so you can be able to go one spot higher and win next race, Kansas Motor Speedway. Well, buddy, look forward to seeing you again next race, and go celebrate.
Sounds good. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for the broadcast. It's great to see it, and thanks to everyone else that raced tonight. It was a great race.
And that was Big D's Racing's own, the 14 of Paul Danica Johnson here tonight. Next in line is the last-minute podium finisher, the 911 of John LaBeouf with the No Fear Racing team. Got a cup there, John?
Sure do, guys.
How you doing tonight?
Doing great now that I got that third place at the last second.
10-4. It was a well-fought battle on your part tonight, John, all race long. And John, in the very beginning, I talked to the viewers and, to Dave as well, Happy in the Dre broadcasting booth, about how you were dirt tracking, drifting every single turn. I talked about how you're most likely going to pay the price before too long, but you ended up still catching up to Paul D. Johnson, like 2 laps after I said that. You ran him down in like 3 seconds down in like, I don't know, a lap and a half. How were you able to do that despite the sideways action going on?
I just was hitting my marks. Everything was flowing right. I hit my corners right. Screwed up a couple halfway through the race. That's what put me so far back. And I also took tires on both pit stops. So I had fresh rubber under the car every chance I could get. It's just a matter of hitting my marks. I love this track. It's an easy track to drive.
Oh, copy that. Very, very glad to hear. And speaking of that, Johnny, since you were very, very, you seem to be the only driver who was that sideways. Was it because of the setup?
Oh yeah, my setup was tweaked to be a little on the loose side. A couple of spots it was too loose. That's what got me in a little bit of trouble coming down through the S's. It broke free and bumped into the wall a little bit, but kept her going. Didn't have that much damage and kept it going.
Oh, copy that, brother. You were able to stay alive all race long. You were battling with every single spot you could get. You were way down there in like 9th place at one point. You were able to get back up there and get a 3rd place finish right here at Sonoma Raceway. Very, very nicely done. And John, thinking about it now, like just rethinking about everything, do you think you've done anything differently to maybe better your chances at maybe a 2nd place finish or a 1st place finish?
Yeah, I could have probably backed my corners up a little bit more, let the car roll through the corners a little bit more. But every car that I've ran on this track, I've always been over aggressive. And I've won a couple of times here in different cars, but it's just my pattern of driving here. It's just, if I wouldn't have screwed up my pit stops and had that little bump in the wall, I may have been up there with 2nd, 1st. But with them guys not taking tires, it's a huge difference in time frame.
Oh, most definitely. Well, John, it was still amazing seeing you finishing on the podium despite everything negative that the track had thrown your way tonight. Very, very impressive and very, very motivational as well at the same time. And John, well, last week, the last race we had at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the support for D. LaBeouf by LIT Motorsports. We've always promised the viewers out there, for the Dre Broadcasting viewers, that we would always keep an eye on and check on D. LaBeouf. And how everything's going, and keeping her in our thoughts and prayers every single time. Tell us about how she's doing so far, buddy.
Right now, she's doing a little bit better. They're planning on some smart pill that she swallows, and it gives them a bunch of information and whatnot. Tells them if they can remove her stomach or whatnot. But she's staying in good spirits. She's a little worried right now because both her kids are in Georgia and her mom's down in Florida, so she's stressing about that a little bit.
Oh, copy that, brother. I can only imagine. That definitely does add to it. But we're very sorry about that, and but very, very glad to hear that she's doing way better than she was before. And also, she has a race coming up as well next week. The support for D LaBeouf by LIT Motorsports at Kansas Speedway. We look forward to catching up with her. And for all those viewers out there who would like to know the story about this, check out last week's race. Last race we had Charlotte Motor Speed right here on the Dre Broadcasting Network. The support for D LaBeouf. D LaBeouf is the wife to John LaBeouf, and she's been diagnosed with multiple different types of cancer. And there was a storyline in the description of that with a link to a GoFundMe page where you could support the medical costs and the feeding tubes and everything, just pretty much the medical expenses. So for everybody who would like to donate, please check out that race. And also next week's race at Kansas Motor Speedway, we'll have the same thing in the description. The same link will be in the description. So for all of you who would like to donate, please do not hesitate. Every single donation is very, very much appreciated. Well, John, thank you for taking the time to come up here and speaking with us. I look forward to seeing you next week at Kansas Speedway, and let D LaBeouf know that we'll think about her and everything's going to be okay.
I will do that, guys, and I just want to throw a quick shout out to Lip Motorsports for everything they've done, you guys for everything that you've done, PRL, Gen X for coming on board and sponsoring this season. It's going to be a fun season.
Congratulations on your third place finish, and look forward to seeing you again next race at Kansas. Have a good night, John.
You too, guys.
And that was the 911 of John LaBeouf, rounding out the top three drivers, top three interviews: Adam Chapman, Danica Johnson, and John LaBeouf, first through third. Oh, Dave, that was a heck of a race right here. Round number 6, the halfway mark at Sonoma Raceway, a road course. Next race, round number 7, the support for D LaBeouf by LIT Motorsports at Kansas Motor Speedway. These drivers going back to what's their favorite, which is an oval track. So that's going to bring even more competition. Hopefully we have our drivers back. The drivers, unfortunately, who were not able to make it once again due to being in the path of Hurricane Irma. So once again, let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and everything is going to be okay. Well, Dave, any final thoughts?
Well, typical road race. But I tell you what, I'm excited next week to get back to the Oval at Kansas. So I think the second half of this season is going to be an exciting one, ladies and gentlemen.
And once again, thank you for tuning into the Dre Broadcasting Network. This is the Dre Broadcasting Network on YouTube. Without you guys, we are nothing. We cannot thank you guys enough. We'd like to also thank the iRacing portal, the iRacing, for putting us on the iRacing portal, giving the Dre Broadcasting the honor of being on the iRacing portal, and giving us a broader audience, pretty much giving all this nice, amazing Precision Racing League coverage to a greater audience, so they too can enjoy exactly what we enjoy right here on the Dre Broadcasting Network. This is the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by GenXRacing.com and GemX.com. GenX Racing, top left of your screen, and GemX, top right of your screen. GemX spelling GIMEX.com. GenX Racing, GENX Racing.com. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow night with the Extreme Motorsports 99.com Extreme Pro K&N Series season finale at the Casey Store 150 at Iowa Speedway. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We've been off for a week for the Labor Day weekend, Labor Day week. We got a little bit rusty, but we are back in the mix of things. And once again, this is the Dre Broadcasting Network. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Look forward to seeing you again next race. Have a good night.